glorious Pisces. Welcome to your Siren Song reading. If this is your first Siren Song reading, let me explain. Basically, we're translating your vibration into a song. First 4 cards are the first 4 lines of your song. So this is your first verse, 4 lines with clarifiers. From there we move into what would be your chorus or repeated message. The second verse of your song, 4 lines with clarifiers, and then the chorus or repeated message moves over to between the second and third verses, and there's a bridge. By the time we get here, you'll know full well if this is the song, your resonant vibration, and if so, we resolve the song in a 3rd verse and sometimes a 4th over on Vimeo. So let's get started, Pisces. Wow, you open your reading with the 2 of Cups. Beautiful. So something you're mirroring. Could be a love relationship. But there's a sort of glorious, harmonious... You know, I very rarely use the word glorious, and I've used it twice in your reading. So far at the 1 minute mark. So there are 2 figures with their tails entwined, and from behind some flowers. Behind them we can't see, but we assume that they're kissing. Gorgeous way to open your song. Looks like it's a love song. And then we have the 5 of Swords. The 5 of Swords, which is Venus in Aquarius. Okay, so Venus in Aquarius. The sort of, the energy of Venus in the electrified, universal world of Aquarius, right? So conflict. So 2 of Cups into 5 of Swords. 2 of Cups, and then some conflict. And then we have the Page of Swords. So the artist of this deck, and all the decks are listed in the description box, has used, sometimes in a vague way, but has used iconography from the last half century, maybe full century. Some of it is recognizable. Some of it's very easy to recognize. I have decided that I'm going to let the viewer determine for themselves what it is they see and what the meaning of it is for them. In any event, this is the Page of Swords. So some kind of fast-moving, maybe careless message coming in. An attempt at communication, but not necessarily a prudent one. From there, we move into the 4 of Pentacles. So something that you're holding on to. This figure, most of these images in this deck are in this kind of flowing watery medium, but here she almost looks kind of congealed. Almost in a bacon fat kind of substance. Sort of a little bit stuck. And the 4 of Pentacles is typically about something that we kind of won't let go of. And we're going to clarify everything when we get to the end of the 2nd verse. Excuse me. First we'll look at your chorus. So your chorus is the Eternal Child. Now the Eternal Child is about just kind of living for joy, believing in magic. There's a naivete, some see kind of a lack of responsibility, but there's a beautiful sort of upside to this, and it's a kind of a good time to talk about Pisces. I mean, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. I use the sidereal zodiac. So there are 3 lunar mansions, nakshatras that make up Pisces, right? We've got the tail end of Purva Bhadrapada, which is where Aquarius becomes Pisces. So where in Aquarius, someone has become like able to think of the entire collective. You know, in Aquarius we have this electrified energy, and then in Purva Bhadrapada the truth strikes, lightning strikes from that electrified field. And it's in that state that we move into Pisces, where, you know, moving into the, I mean, Purva Bhadrapada only goes into like the 3rd or 4th degree of Pisces, and then from there, and you know, Purva Bhadrapada in moving into Aquarius is about like the early stages of like blessed results, right? And then we move into Uttar Bhadrapada, which is where the soul commits to going deep, you know. And so sometimes Pisces gets accused of this kind of like dream state, you know, this unrealistic, but really it's the full evolution of the soul's journey that we're encountering in Pisces. So to have, you know, the eternal child be present, someone who's purely living for joy in Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter, it can go either way, right? Like Pisces energy can always go either way. You know, from Uttara Bhadrapada we move into Revati, which is, you know, where the soul, you know, goes home, you know. So it's completely sacrificial, and it's completely gentle, and it doesn't think of itself. And so what can happen there is like Pisces can get kind of like lost in dreams, like way too watery, unboundaried, you know, that kind of thing. But I think that the sort of like holy evolutionary nature of Pisces needs to be more emphasized, you know. So the eternal child as your chorus is kind of like, you know, living for joy, but also sort of purity, you know. There's a purity to it. There's a purity that we seek to achieve in Pisces. That, you know, it's kind of like, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Well, let's see what happens as your song evolves. Okay, that's your chorus. The eternal child is your chorus. From there we move into the Queen of Cups energy. So more water energy, cardinal sign of water. So this, the card of Cancer. You know, she's very beautiful, regal, under the sea. Very loving, nurturing. You know, the sort of full command of feminine water, cardinal water. And the second line of your second verse, we have the Fool energy. So again, the Fool energy, often glibly stated as being the leap of faith. The Fool energy is kind of like, it is about leaping, it is about risk, but it's about being comfortable in a full awareness of the truth of the unknown. Like, everything is unknown to us. I mean, we have all sorts of like systems and plans and ways of thinking and definitions and things that like we do to sort of make ourselves more comfortable, right? But the truth of the matter is that nothing is known to us. So the Fool energy comfortably exists and moves forward in knowing that. From there we have the Five of Pentacles. So the standard definition of the Five of Pentacles is, you know, being left out in the cold. Here we see like these wild winds whipping palm trees at night. Basically a storm that's happening in the depths of ourselves, right? This is like a really deep place. Like it's not easily seen. It's in the darkest recesses of our being. Something stormy is happening that's calling up a sense of kind of abandonment. And if you see the very top of the card, you'll see there's like a strip of like, you know, if you're old enough to remember like a room full of smoke, or like a plane full of, like an airplane full of smoke, then like the smoke is kind of like moving around, but then when it gets to a certain level, it's sort of like, it rises and it just settles on a plane, like the other kind of plane, you know, it settles, you know, it gets to a point in the atmosphere and it just doesn't go any further, right? So it just like floats along the top. And you can see that there, you know, whatever this is, it has this sort of penetrable, sort of like smoky edge to it, you know? This sort of sense of having been, this momentary discomfort with one's aloneness that is like inside of us, so deep down, so like from childhood perhaps, or even earlier, is being encountered. And then from there we have the King of Cups. So both royalty cards of your element are in your second stanza, the King and the Queen of Cups. This King of Cups always reminds me of Mrigashira Nakshatra, which is where Taurus meets Gemini, because it's another very gentle nakshatra, similar, you know, Revati, like I said, is gentle. Mrigashira is also gentle, and it's represented by the deer. But this is the King of Cups, so it's actually the card of Scorpio. We had a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio a couple of days ago in Anuradha Nakshatra. Let's see what else is in this. There's some white flowers, fiery hair. There's a very tender sort of meeting of the eyes there, and there's a kiss. Okay, so second second verse. Queen of Cups into the Fool card, into that Five of Pentacles, sort of momentary sense of abandonment that's deep down, into the King of Cups, and card of Scorpio, gentle, loving energy. So your second verse has the Queen of Cups on one in the first line and the King of Cups in the last line. And in between, this sort of like leap into the unknown, despite this sense of, reminds me of a line from a Leonard Cohen song, Dance Me Through the Panic. And then we move your chorus over to between the second and third verses, and we add the bridge, which in your case is the Swan Spirit, and it says, time for a deep dive. So this sort of graceful, gentle, loyal, and monogamous creature of the swan, very beautiful, very elegant, is about to get all its beautiful feathers and flowers, you know, wet from diving deep. Yeah, it's very Piscean. I love the flourishes coming off of the crown chakra of the swan. And the pose is very sort of like humble and beautiful, kind of balletic. And so usually when I'm when I'm thinking in terms of what this would become as a song, because I don't know if I've mentioned this or if you know this yet, but on this channel, the Siren Song readings that resonate the most, you know, the ones on Vimeo where the most people have brought their energy to contribute to, once a month, one of those is going to become an actual song with music and lyrics and will be performed. And so this, like the reading that ends up, you know, being that reading will be the sort of inspiration and structure for the song. And when I get to the bridge, which is usually purely instrumental, I get a sense of the sort of like essence of like the rhythm of the song, the instrumentation, the pacing, that kind of thing. So this seems to me what it would be is like a very sort of graceful sort of love song about like facing, you know, like going deep into one's sort of fears or watery like underbody, you know what I mean? And, you know, risking love. We've got the Queen and the King of Cups. We've got the Fool card, and then we've got this like deep, you know, like little sense of abandonment, like, you know, the panic that one must be danced through. Alright, so let's begin to clarify, Pisces. So, as you recall, you open your reading with the Two of Cups. The first line of your song is a Two of Cups message. And here we have the Four of Pentacles. So, in this Two of Cups situation where you open your song, you know, this sort of beautiful, graceful love song, you're holding back. At the beginning there's some real love, but there's holding back. Four of Pentacles. Probably as a result of like this sort of like reason for panic within yourself that you're encountering. And then this, you know, Mercury and Venus, Five of Swords, is clarified by the Knight of Pentacles. So, it's almost like there is something very real, very Pisces, very... So Knight of Pentacles is the card of Virgo, which is exactly across the sky from you, okay? You're the real counterpart to your energy, you know? So some kind of real counterpart to you is offering something totally real, coming in slowly and steadily at a very reasonable pace, and yet there's some kind of conflict. And I think the conflict is arising in you, Pisces, in the beginning of the song, which is like a beautiful way to begin a song, right? Like there's real love, I'm holding back from it, something is conflicting within me. Like these are not the words of the song certainly, but the inspiration for what would be the words. And then what comes up next is your Knight of Swords, something coming in quick, and then there's the Hierophant. So, I don't know, is this like a message about potentially committing to something? You know, in the third line of your song. And then, you know, we have the Four of Pentacles, which clarified your Two of Cups in the first line. We have it for real here. You know, you're stuck, and then your Nine of Cups is like waiting for you. Like there's your Nine of Cups, you know, but there's some kind of sticking point within you. See that? We could think of it as ice, you know, since most of these cards are in a water medium, and this is Pisces. Like this could be ice, like kind of iced over, temporarily congealed, you know. And then the Eternal Child comes in. So like here in the chorus, you're kind of faced with a choice, right? And so the sort of like upside, you know, can you be soulful and joyful about this? Or does it feel too adult? You know, something like that. But then from there, in the second verse, we've got the Queen of Cups and the King of Wands energy. So there's something about you that's like totally tempted to just like bring your full power to this. You know, this is, look at her. The embodiment of the feminine water element and this powerful sort of Leo, this like high degree of mojo, like completely confident. You have that within you, Pisces. And the Fool energy, yeah, I think you're going to go for it because, look, there's the Chariot, right? And, let's see. The Fool is a unicorn, right? Fully in the magic that the eternal child never stops believing in. And the Chariot is, you know, the Chariot, it's a card of Cancer. It's about you kind of reining in your own opposing forces and finding a way to move forward. It's very beautiful. Like, as a clarifier for the Fool energy, I mean, it's very beautiful. So then we come to that sort of like inner panic, that inner storm that you have there. And let's see, that's clarified by the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles always reminds me of Mula Nakshatra, or actually no, like where Mula moves into the next one. Purvashada. Right, so in Mula we rip out the roots of old things, but in Purvashada we have an early victory. And so this is Seven of Pentacles. This is the moment where you are kind of like in the early victory of this beautiful Two of Cups situation, right? Your chorus is the eternal child. That Queen of Cups energy comes in with the King of Wands clarifying, and then the Fool with the Chariot, and then you've got this early victory and this like this kind of like little stumbling block within yourself, you know. That Five of Pentacles energy. But from there, that King of Cups, that sort of counterpart to the King of Cups, comes in, and it's clarified by the Two of Pentacles. So at the end of the second verse, you're kind of still in a bit of a balancing act with these, you know, with these opposing forces. And I mean, because inside you as the Queen of Cups, you have this powerful like mojo, King of Wands energy, right? The largest part of you is like, yeah, I can dance through this panic. I can put these two opposing forces together and move forward. You know, I'm in an early victory here. This is bound to come up from within me, you know. And so this is you kind of like starting that dance, you know. And that's where we find you at the end of the second verse. So from there we move over to the Eternal Child. Time for a deep dive. And yeah, so if this feels like something your vibration is resonating with right now, then I look forward to moving into the third verse on Vimeo. And in any event, Pisces, it has been such a pleasure